So now you are able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes,
huh?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For me, here in the screen is not appearing. That's the reason. Just
It is no. It is seen, but you can press F7 or something like that for the full screen.
Yeah.
Or maybe in the slideshow you can say play from start. Yeah.
Yeah, play from start that I want.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. Your presentation is showing. I
Now
hope that it is also showing to all the other participants.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, before you start, sir, I request Professor Sri Nagesh to introduce our today's speaker, Professor A. Ravindranath. Dr. Sri Nagesh. Yeah, Dr. Sri Nagesh is juggling between two courses. I really commend the effort Dr. Sri Nagesh is putting. Yeah, so kindly, yeah, all the participants and as well as my resource person, kindly bear with us. Yeah,
I'm ready, sir.
Yeah, sir, please go ahead. Yeah,
yes, sir. So, dear friends, today we have the most illustrious personality with us. He is Professor Ravindranath A. He is Professor and Dean Faculty of Pharmacy, Usmania University. Recently, but just a few days ago, he just retired from the official services, but he's not retired. He is very much part of the academics because his dynamism and his, the knowledge, it has to be shared with everyone. Sir has 3 years of industry, 35 years of research, and 30 years of teaching, and 50 years of administrative experiences. And he worked as Dean Faculty of Technology, Dean Academics, Dean Development and UGC Affairs. He was the head Department of Pharmacy, Chairman Board of Studies in Pharmacy, and Chairman BIOS in Technology, Coordinator TOC NSS OU, and also served as the in-charge registrar, in-charge finance officer, in-charge director, Center for Information Technology, University Computer Center, CFRD, and many more. And he is an architect of UGC UPE action plan for Usmania University, and he brought 50 crores. And he is an executor of TechPip, one action plan of University College of Technology, where he brought 12.50 crores. An author of TechQuip 2 institutional development proposal of UCT and brought 10 crores, and a conceptualizer of TechQuip 2 Center of Excellence of UCT with 5 crores, and a profiler RUSA 1.0, where institutional development proposal of Usmania University was made for 20 crores, and facilitated for UGC 12th plan development grants for 35 crores, and UGC SAP grants for 25 crores at OU. And he was instrumental for sanction and execution of institutional project course at Manu, that is Central University, an initiator of for creation of central facilities at University College of Technology and Manu for Skill Development Center. He has formulated 41 documents and reports on academic research and administrative policies. A contributor for introduction new academic and research programs, food technology, biotechnology, and pharmacy at University College of Technology. Bachelor's vocational program in medical imaging technology and medical laboratory technology at Manu, in addition to establishment of 3 skill development institutes, and initiated innovative teaching methods, SAIL. He is the originator for transformation of University College of Technology into multidiscipline and multi-department institute. Served as a committee chairman for implementation of CBCS in Telangana State, member of HRDC UGC flagship program, STRIDE guidelines, and convener of for revival of Department Pharmacy and Faculty of Pharmacy, Usmania University. And he had done his bachelor's with distinction, includes Bachelor of Industrial Chemistry, Masters in Chemistry and Biotechnology, Doctorate in Medicinal Chemistry, and postdoctoral studies in Pharmacy from Stony Brook University, New York, USA. And he has trained at world-class institutions like University of Cambridge, UK, on academic leadership under MHRD flagship scheme, LEAP, and Oxford University, Oxford Drug Discovery Research under World Bank Project Equip 1, and Indian School of Business Hyderabad Executive Education Program under World Bank Project Equip 1, and IIT Delhi Madras, Kharagpur and Bombay under research and orientation programs for continuing education. And he has 75 plus published papers with 790 plus citation, having H index of 15, and supervised 16 PhDs and 98 master's degrees, pharma, that is MPharm and MTech, executed projects 5 individual, 4 consultancy, 1 departmental and 3 institutional, and gained international exposure by visiting 23 countries on academic research and training pursuits. And he has been honored with Fellow of Institute of Engineers India, recipient of Professional Achievers Award by Association of Pharmacy Professionals, Teachers Excellence Award by Confederation of Educational Excellence, Visiting Scientist to Travel Award by UGC, Young Scientist Travel Award by CSR, JRF and SRF by CSR through national level test, and served as UGC, as national UGC and AICT and state TSCHE and TCOST level regulatory bodies and committee, and also member of academic senates, academic councils, governing bodies, and board of studies of various higher education institutes. He is member of a number of professional bodies and delivered 150 plus lectures in more than 80 plus institutions. So with this small brief introduction of our resource person, sir, I once again welcome you on behalf of UGC HRDC coordinator Dr. Chalmala Srinivasulu for coordinating this program, and the participants and myself. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. And now I hand over the mic to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for the kind words, Professor Nagesh.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Srinivasulu. And shall I start or they? Okay.
Yeah, please start. Sir.
Okay. You are able to listen to me then. Thank you. So, okay. Good morning to all of you, all the participants. Okay, I don't know the background of the participants. Probably all of them are from the science background. So whatever the topic just I am dealing may be more suitable and appropriate to them. But somehow today just I am dealing only the conceptualizing of research proposals. So why the research proposal conceptualization is necessary? Because you know very well the university has 3 dimensions of functioning, especially not only the academics, then the research, and third one is outreach. So that we call as third dimension of higher education. So the second dimension of higher education, especially the university faculty, it is one of the important thing, because how to nurture the talent among the students who is having an inquisitive and inquiry mind to know the new things. So this is what the research is going to be there. So that is the reason now under new education policy, a new type of word has been coined, National Research Foundation. So to integrate different research funding bodies into one place, and they make the things to be possible for funding for the research. Actually, this when I was associated with the scheme STRIDE of UGC for preparing the guidelines, so then we thought of how to nurture the young talent is one of the component in that particular STRIDE scheme. So where we thought, so how to incorporate these things right from school, college, and from till the young faculty, that we thought of it. So for which a special allocation has been made to the young faculty for research programs. And also there is a kind of training facilities also, we have one component. And third one was the transdisciplinary version, just we thought of it. So in the first component, the training version, just we are taking the young minds who are having the inquisitive for the research. So the self-motivated persons has to be identified. They should be trained the new and cutting edge areas. So through that particular training proposals. So where the school children is also part of that, and graduate students are also part of that, and postgraduate students are also part of that, and doctoral students are also part of that, and postdoctoral students are also part of that. And finally, the young faculty is also part of that. So all these 5 different categories of students are and scholars and employees considered, and for which the training has been to be imparted by the various institutions. Of course, we thought of at least 100 institutions should get the this particular status. I think it was only the first phase, only the 40 institutions or 38 odd institutions were given the grant to take up that. But anyhow, I am going to today this main particular topic of conceptualizing research proposal, because research is one of the things any country's economy, people speaks only about the education. So now, as you have more innovations and inventions, you can make the more contribution to the economy. So that's what now the intellectual property and World Intellectual Property Organization is helping in a different way. So the America first became only because of such innovations and the inventions they made, and they stand first in the world. Similarly, subsequently, the Japan has been made, and now the China is trying to surpass the same to others. So to these three things of the mainly the research activities which has begun due weightage the education system. So if you look at as far as my introductory part is concerned, every PhD project requires a good proposal. A PhD or any project requires a good proposal for its perfect accomplishments. But conceiving the idea for a good research proposal is often a crucial part of the either PhD or a research project, and is the first step when starting with research. So that is what normally we do it. Actually, this is possible only unless you make an observation around you, because you are interacting with the society, what the society undergoing, what kind of problems. The emerging scenario, we can speak about the COVID. So in the COVID, there are a number of things are there. Pharmaceutical intervention measures are there, non-pharmaceutical intervention measures are there. So how these things can be accomplished is also one of the things, how you can minimize the spread of this pandemic. Also, another way just you can look at not only the prevent, not only the treatment, so how you can reduce the things also another way of thinking of these things. So such things has helped a lot for any individual to make a good proposals. So the purpose of writing research proposal is to present your interest or passion for a particular subject. So that's what normally will be taken. So now under new education policy, we are going to encounter with the three components known as interdisciplinary. The second one is transdisciplinary, and third one is multidisciplinary. So if you research, if you know about the interdisciplinary, so we know that the most popular subjects in the interdisciplinary is environmental science. And similarly, the oldest of interdisciplinary subject is the pharmaceutical science, because pharmacies and chemical engineering is also another one. If I speak to say, because pharmacy, the people have to study the science discipline, various subjects like the microbiology they have to study, like biochemistry they have to study, the chemistry also they have to study, they also to study the physics and also mathematics and statistics. All these are there in addition to developing a formulation. Unless you study the physical chemistry, how a formulation and their properties can be established, and how the quality is being assessed, and also how safety and efficacy also will be done for the pharmacy product. So environmental science is also related to the things, the interaction of materials with the life. So when you think about life, botany, zoology are life. The materials, when you think about that, it is only the chemistry. And when the actions, if you look at all these engineering aspects, also the part of that. And in the same time, the society is also another thing, engagement. So all these things comes under the environmental science. So these are considered in the interdisciplinary subject, because you are studying a cluster of disciplines in a single domain that is going to be interdisciplinary. But when transdisciplinary is concerned, the transdisciplinary is totally different. You have to study two different disciplines, not combining to each other, if they're as independent entities. So here, what the first one is, you are able to interdisciplinary, you are able to explore the research. The second one, you are able to develop the expertise. For example, a computer science graduate is there. So he, rather than he is performing and developing a new product, so he want to do a law at the same time. So when he complete the law, because of his computer science knowledge, he is able to perform better as a cyber law professional. So this is what normally happen. This is considered to be the transdisciplinary research when you want to go for that. But multidisciplinary is totally different. So now the education system, earlier, now standalone institutions like education, College of Education is separate, College of Engineering is separate, College of Pharmacy is separate. So like that it used to be there. College of Management is separate and MCA colleges are separate like that. Now they want to bring all those together and people should have such knowledge of different domains. So this will make, if you want to be a skilled person, it will be totally different. So if you look at, if any science students are there, probably they know about the Avogadro's number. The Avogadro was something different, who is normally known for a chemical formula for determining the 6.023 10 to the power of 23, the molecules in a, how it will be present in a gas. When a mole of gas or mole of in a mole is defined. But he is not basically a science professional. He is originally a law graduate, attorney. But his passion for the physics and chemistry has helped to develop that particular principle, and which is now we are using every calculation, that particular mole concept. So that's what we know, how the people have the passion now. So that is the reason a BCom with physics is possible nowadays, they are telling. So the multidisciplinary, when a person individual is having a passion in that. Now the problem of these things today, morning just I was going through the NEP webinar, where the President of India and Prime Minister of India also addressed. So they are telling about the cluster of higher education institutions going to be a part of that, so that student can access to any of the institution to learn his own things. So for example, if you look at the engineering college there, a good workshop is supposed to be there. So you can develop some vocational skill in the any kind of trade if you want that particular workshop while pursuing the general education. So you know, when education is classified into 4 types, it is general education, professional education, technical education, and vocational education. So the general education is considered to be basically for the life and values. It is only how to train a people for the survive in the society and sustain in the society, life coping skills. So, and at the same time, imbibe with certain values to be a responsible citizens. That is BA, BCom, BSc, what we are teaching. But when it comes to the professional education, like the teacher education or the law, management, if you look at the medicine, pharmacy, all these things are professional education. So where certain standard, expertise, and ethics are going to play a major role. So that's what normally we look at in this, that particular part. So third part, if you look at the technical education, it is mainly for the inventions and innovations they have to do. So the comforts of an individual is coming with the technology. So the technical education, whatever today the advancements we are taking about how the life expectancy has been enhanced, it is not only the medicine it is contributing, even the technology, the innovations and inventions are contributing. So where a lot of research is necessary. The fourth one is vocational. So here, this is the one now, how to train the people for a specific job or specific trade and particular employment purposes. So now they want to keep the vocational education as part of the general education, so that employment will be made possible for even general education students. Because earlier only general education only helped to life and values and intellectual enhancement only was one of the things used to be there. But subsequently, when the vertical mobility used to happen, they used to contribute in the research, and that's what normally going on. So now the second point I would like to see how you have to define the problem in the field of study. So that's what, whatever the subject you are choosing, how you have to define a particular problem you have to look at. Next, put forth your ideas and approach to solve the problem is another important thing. And explain the expected outcome and its significance is another one. So these 4 points, if you have to make, then you can write a good research proposal. And it is a document that helps the reviewer to evaluate the project as well as for its plan to conducting a productive research. So that's what normally it is possible to go ahead. Normally, whenever a person look at the project proposal, what kind of introduction you are making them to make the reviewer to read it more interestingly, and even conclusion part also make how outcomes are going to be there. So these two are important when you are writing the research proposal. Introduction and conclusion part is one of the main fundamental things one has to look at. Hence, selection of project and its execution is dependent on good research proposal is another important thing. So once you look at, so what research is, we have to consider. Research is a methodical scientific activity intended to develop or contribute for knowledge creation, and it facilitates in designing and devising a new applications with the help of instruments, the procedures, processes, experiments, and systems in place. Unless you make this is more organized, you cannot execute the things in a more effective way and in a time tested manner. So the things has to be completed. So it enables to collect data for documentation and also gather information for discovery, analyze, interpret, and validate the facts for finding solutions that can be generalized for human welfare and benefits. So this whatever we are carrying out, the research is not only the personal benefits we are looking at, it is in the societal interest, the human welfare and benefits are other things. So in its broadest sense, science is an systematic knowledge that is capable of resulting in a correct prediction or reliable outcome. So this finally we conclude in the research, the scientific activity, the methodological activity. For example, if you look at, so experiment if you carry out, so you have to make an observation. So from that observation, you are able to derive certain fact. So when you inductively you analyze this one, then you get an explanation. So from the explanation, you develop an hypothesis. So this hypothesis can be tested, and then deductive evaluation will be carried out. Then it translated into a theory. So this what normally going thing. So if you look at each research question should be looked at on the basis of its own particular features. So that's what normally we look at. So for example, if a scientific method, if you look at scientific method seeks to explain the events of nature in a reproducible way and to use these findings to make useful predictions. The scientific thinking is one of the ways to find answers, practical, professional, religious, ideological, and so on. So thinking is a habit of questioning what you do, a systematic examination to find answers. So here is one of the things. So we are able to today, able to our traditional knowledge, how it was being done and how it was helpful for today, we are able to get a good life, whatever we are thinking about. So this is what normally we look at, and then we are able to rationalize much of the things, those particular traditional knowledge. So when COVID situation happened, people used to recollect how the olden days in the villages, how people used to practice the things in an effective way. So the search for knowledge via systematic investigation or experimentation aimed at discovery and interpretation of facts and revision of accepted theories or laws in the light of new facts or practical application of such new or revised theories or laws. So this is what do happening. So the changes, whatever we are looking at, and modification, whatever we are changing on these things based on this it is. For example, the focus must be like this: find a process you have to improve the science process. Normally in the chemistry, we look in that direction and organize a plan to succeed. So then when you want to improve the particular process, then you have to organize a plan. Because earlier process is a multi-step process. You want to simplify those steps and how you have to work out. So you have to plan, organize a plan to succeed. And clarify the current knowledge. So that also is one of the important things. Whether you are bringing in new products, new materials, whether cost effectiveness and how it is going to cause any kind of environment impact, and those things also to be analyzed. Understand the sources of variation and earlier process and present process, whatever the sources are there, how the variation is there. Then select a method for product development is another important thing. So this is what normally the focus we look at in the scientific research. So how the science, technology, society, and environment, these four components are going to play a vital role. So if you look at the life and living is one of the things science and you can look at. So the materials world, the technology, and the society also in other things, earth and beyond, environment, energy, and change is also another one. So these 4 components, how these are going to in a pyramidal situation. So how it is going to be. So knowledge of daily life, application of science, technology, society, environment. The skills acquired through academic programs will enable the students to study and explore effectively in various practical-based training courses. And furthermore, the logical thinking and the problem-solving skills acquired from the benchmark curriculum will make the students more competitive and inquisitive toward the research and analytical careers of our place. Actually, why I'm looking here at the students, because when you are conceptualizing a research proposal, you also see who can work with you, who can have the inquisitiveness. Actually, when we classify the students when they enter, now UGC has introduced a new scheme known as Diksharam or the induction training program. So in this particular induction training program, so when students entered into the college, first a 1 week orientation is being done. So after at the end of the orientation, we have to conduct one diagnostic test of these students to know their interest and passion. Because once we know that the classification will be done, normally the students are 3 category types of students will be there. One is a self-motivated candidate. We consider him as a gifted learner. And second one is a motivation is required. We consider he is an average learner. Third one is an attention is required, who is known to be as a passive learner. So when you tap this gifted learner, you always look for this for him to encourage for scholastic pursuits. But average learner, you always encourage him to go for the employment or sector-based sector skill development. But passive learner, if he is not much of interest is showing in the subject, and we have to make them to at least to fulfill the life coping skills. So that what normally we consider, and accordingly we have to deliver the goods and train them in that particular line. So this is what normally we look at. There are a number of programs has been initiated by the Government of India. One is known as IMPRINT, Impacting the Research, Innovation and Technology. Another is GAN. So this is global initiative for academic networks is there. So where normally the foreign scholars will be invited to the universities to share their expertise resource to the students, scholars and faculty. There is another Avishkar is there. So engineering inventions, which is now the hackathon is being started by the AICTE, so All India Hackathon, so where this particular Avishkar engineering inventions are being considered. So from that, so we are able to develop new knowledge of development and intellectual property. It is going on. So now the Government of India has brought a new scheme, or it is considered a new kaizenizing word known as Atmanirbhar Bharat. So self-reliance India in science and technology. So how it is going to work, how the research is going to contribute for this also, one need to look into this particular aspects. So further, if you look at, now I'm coming to the things. What is research? How to do research? Research is to solve a problem and find a solution, or to publish. So most of the academic research is only going for the publishing things. But whereas scientific research is going to make the patent. So this is what normally going to be done. So from the patent, you are able to gain some intellectual property gains will be there. So that is will be contributing for your economy and advantage. So dissecting the dimensions of research. So when you different dimensions you want to dissect and distribute. So first, what kind of topic you are choosing, and what the novelty is there in that. Is there any new technology you are developing or adopting, and what is the scope, and where it is going to be used? That's also one we have to look at. Whether economically you are gaining more things, and or otherwise you are serving the society in a different way. Okay. So and what the mode approach is also another thing, because now these things, whether you are utilizing the available resources, or you are trying to explore and collaborate with someone else to complete the research, and these things are another things is also another thing, is whether that also important thing, because when education is there, you are looking at regular mode, distance mode, open learning, and now virtual learning and online learning. These are things are coming out. So like that, even the research also, now you are going to interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, or multidisciplinary, or otherwise you need a collaborator from within the institute or across the institutes or across the countries if you want to do. So that you have to work it out. Then what method you are going to adopt, and then the ideology is also another things. Mainly the ethics are one of the things is there, and politics and utility is also another important thing. So if you look at the politics also sometimes do plays things, because if you look at the DNA discovery, look at there are a number of people, more than 4 or 5 people are being involved in that. Okay, so where this particular thing we call it as so how the actually this there is a one known as Rosalind Franklin. So she is the important person at the time for unraveling the structure of DNA, because her X-ray diffraction images has helped this Franklin and Francis, both things, the DNA discoverers who are there, so that they are able to get it. But finally, at the time of the award of the things, she died because she was not given any weightage for that. But still, her contribution is amazing. Okay. So this there is one of the things we had to speak about. Before that, also the reassembling the dimensions, the quantitative versus qualitative research is another important thing. And this, because recently when I was teaching the women in science, so where some of the women who contributed a lot for the scientific contribution, but they are not being got the due recognition. So that's the reason the politics or gender discrimination and other things are going to play a vital role. The reassembling the dimensions, the quantitative versus qualitative research is also another thing. So most of the people are doing the quantitative research is they are doing more than a qualitative research. So that's the variabilities only they are studying the things. So this is what normally going on. But now, why do we need to do the research is also another important thing. So here also just I would like to mention a little about the social science research, and then we move into the things. A quest for knowledge and understanding, an interesting and useful experience, a way to improve quality of life and to perform a differentiated research. So the differentiated research mainly consider academic research, applied research, and professional research. So academic research mainly to set the truth, and applied research to invent a utility, a new thing you have to find it out, and professional research to find a solution. Normally, this is what normally we look at. Presently, we look at the pandemic situation of COVID-19. It is only the professional research to find a solution. But if you are developing some kind of tool for preventive measures, it is considered to be an invention of utility. And then the academic research mainly to set the truth, and what is the cause behind also, that is also you can do all the 3 kinds of research on this particular emerging situation. The social science research engage in the scientific study of human behavior, focusing on the study of social interactions, patterns, underlying regulations, and social groups, interest, classes, corporate movement, and social structures, institutions, beliefs, rules, culture, and social controls, norms, sanctions, laws, ethics, and values, and social networks and society in cultural context. So this is what normally we look at, whatever they are kind of. So this is mainly mostly of the quantitative analysis. The statistical data, they make it, from that they make the interpretation and analysis, and they will do. So the research and development, if you look at, research is a process of creating new knowledge, but development is a process that applies the knowledge. So this is what normally we look at. Always research R&D goes together. How to do a research mainly. Research is all about addressing an issue or asking and answering a question or solving a problem. So identify an issue or question or a problem. Talk with the people who want or need your study. Normally, this will be considered not only the community needs, even the industry needs also another important thing you are able to address. Find out what is already known about it. So that's what normally we have to look at. talk with experts and or read their reviews and the original research on the topic. So that is the reason you have to attend all professional meetings wherever it is possible. So whenever any kind of seminars are being organized, so we look at to attend those things, and where from some ideas you will generate and you can do the certain new things to be possible. The plan, cost, and do your study accordingly. Okay, that's what normally we look at. So when I attended in 1986 an international conference on pure and applied chemistry at Netherlands, The Hague, as a research scholar with the CSR Young Scientist Travel Award. So there I got after attending certain, got an idea from the various presentations, and I was able to give certain problems to my juniors to complete their PhD work. So at the time we have given the use of beta-lactam fusing to a natural product moiety and assessing its antibiotic ability. Also one of the things, how we were able to modify a natural product by fusing a beta-lactam moiety. Another problem we have given how to use a microwave for synthesis purposes rather than doing refluxing and heating purposes, using a microwave unit. From that you put the material ingredients, and then after some times you see how the product is changing. So the microwave synthesis, also these two ideas we made it. So for that the plan, cost, and the study we have to make effectively. So write it up and submit for assessment. So then this is what you have to do. Better still, do good job on it and submit it for publications. So undergraduate projects are sometimes good enough to publish, and your work will benefit more people if you publish it. And rule number one, academia is publish or perish. That's only will be there. But whereas scientific community, they like research institutes like RL Labs, ICTs, and other national research laboratories are there. So they always look for patenting the product so that they can transfer the technology transfer, they can make it, and they can gain the economic benefits to the institution. So this is various different types you can see, dissecting the dimensions of research. If you look at my understanding of the various kinds of research advanced when I identified various dimensions, components of research. A former colleague regarded such as analysis as a trivial pursuit. And if you find a better way to understand the research, let me know. Meanwhile, consider these dimensions: topic, physical, biological, psychological, and sociological. The four are there. You look at those things. And novelty, create a new versus review, publish data or information. Technology, develop a new versus use existing methods. And scope, study a single case or a sample. And mode, observe or intervene. And methodology, qualitative versus quantitative, information versus numbers. That's only we look at. Ideology, objective versus subjective, positivist versus interpretivist. And then politics, neutral or partisan, and utility, pure versus applied. So these are the things normally we look at. Earlier I mentioned about. Then reassembling the things. If you look at the dimension, one of the things is important one. Finally concluding the version. So now, ultimately, whatever the research is there, it is for contributing the quality of life. So what the innovation research do contribute? First, we are thinking about the people. Then when you are using whether it is going to cause any problem to the nature or the planet, that also we have to look at. And what the product you are going to develop, and what the process you are using, and what kind of profit you are going to make. The 5 P's are one of the important things, is one of the research. So it depends upon the academic research or applied research or patentable research if you look at. So these 5 components plays a vital role. So decide the title of the work first we have to look at. Framing the right title is the key task and the first way to introduce your topic. And better to keep it short and simple rather than long and complicated. It must clearly indicate the proposed research topic, highlighting some keywords like maybe, the key question, or the key approach. So that's what normally we look at in the topic. So unless you make this part topic is and the title is so interesting, so it may not show any much interest or the reviewer who are going to evaluate it. So further, then you have to make an abstract or synopsis. So it enables to judge the originality and quality of the idea, the depth of knowledge and skill, clarity of thinking, analytical power, and practical and feasibility of research project proposal. So this is what normally we look at, how you are thinking about the originality and quality of the idea. Normally, you need to use your own words and frame your own sentences. So that's what, don't copy and plagiarize the situation. You can catch that particular word and use its synonym in a different way and put it in a new approach so that it should be impressive and interesting to read. But jumbling of the words is not going to make it, meaning will change a lot. But as a sense of meaning should be there in the, when you are making a sentence. That's only you look at for these things. It provides an outline of the key features about the investigation, like what is being proposed and why it is being studied and how the study will be done, etc. Along with these aspects, it must also briefly describe the expected outcome and its significance. So that's what normally we look at. And an abstract or synopsis of research proposal not only briefs the concept and significance of the study, and also gives a view of the time frame, resources, and expected expenditure and required for the research apart from the anticipated outcomes. An abstract not only exceed 500 words, and synopsis should not go beyond 5,000 words. So not to exceed 500 words, but synopsis also should not exceed 5,000 words. So this is what we have to, in brief, is supposed to be there. So the contents of research study we look at, first we have to write the introduction, then the review of literature, and third one methodology, and then the results and discussion and conclusion, bibliography, the subsequent part. But first, unless you identify the research area, you cannot make the design. Research design has not been carried out. So once you make the research design, then you have to carry out the research. Once you carry out the research, you will get certain results and analyze those particular results, and then you publish that particular results. Depends on the its novelty and other things. You can patent also. Okay, utility, novelty, and utility, you can say. So the research normally is an opportunity, idea, earnings, development, innovation, experience, curiosity, and growth. All these are part of the research. So should be your own constructed introduction supposed to be, and what you intend to do also it should convey, and it should answer you are trying to identify a healthcare problem or something else. So a social problem. Why you are choosing it also you have to justify, about its prominence in terms of global, national, and regional with statistics. So when you are not able to give the global aspects and national aspects and the regional certain statistics, so in the introductory part, it is not going to make any impact on the work and showing any kind of interest. How you want to find the answer for the problem which you envisaged is also another important thing you have to describe in the introduction. Here you describe the tools you intend to choose and its significance, and end part should explain the objective of the work. Note, never follow the practice of making generalized aims or objectives. So that's what you have to look at. Once you describe in brief about the intended problem, and the end of the things you are able to give what kind of objective you are going to have it. So once you have the objective, then you should go for the review of the literature. So this is what normally we figure. Once you do the literature, then you are able to come to minimize where you have to focus. So that's what normally the idea conceptualization comes here. The background of the chosen problem, where researcher sets the scene and states his or her intention. The statement of the problem or intent, theoretical or experimental basis, and definition of terms is also another thing, and purpose or objective of the study, and specific things expected to do or deliver. So this you have to finalize at the end of the things. So decide, find, use, record, present, and evaluate. So this is what normally we go ahead in the research problem identification and topic making. So let us see how these things are going to be the review of literature. It should be literature on either topic and or method, and source of literature search, primary, secondary, tertiary. The three kinds of you have to look at, and reported in three stages: chronological organization, categorical viewpoints, and contributions related topic. And end part should conclude with the proposed work, the method, and must cite the reference. So, for example, if you look at the Web of Science, there is an end note is there, data as bibliographic file is there, and then there is a job reference software is there, and Dara as XML is there, then MS Office, and LaTeX is also. These are the things which are normally being used. Finally, an article can be published when you are doing itself without much of work if you are doing on. So the literature survey should focus on what approaches have others used. That's what one we look at. What are the gaps? That is where you are to look at. Normally, gaps, trends, and which we need to analyze, needs, gaps, trends, and needs. These three things are there. So then if you analyze, then you can make a proper method you can choose and develop the problem and find a solution. So this is what normally we look at. What differences you wish to make is also another important thing. Whether novelty in familiarity and or familiarity in novelty. So that also you look at. And would be placing in current context, or you are already known, you want to modify and make the something economical, or it will be expanding the applications. So developing state-of-art tool or technique from extension on the work of others. So that's what normally we look at. Here, why I wish to say here one important thing. People, most of them are looking at the published work. But instead of published work, if you look at the patented work, you will get more and more good ideas. So every patented work doesn't mean having a wider applications has been noted. So you can, from that patented work, you may get new idea, or there is a possibility to expand its for different applications. So thereby you also get a new patent. So this is what normally we look at. If someone study the patents, they get better ideas than the more published one. So context of the thesis or dissertation, if you look at, based on original research, gain the knowledge of background work on potential anomalies, and establish content of the proposed work and clarification of controversial reported results, and elucidating the gaps, avoid unintentional duplication of work, and rationale behind choosing the specific literary resources is also another important one. So which we are focusing on the things. So this what normally we work through the literature survey. Further, if you look at how you can make the work plan is another important thing, the plan of work. The work plan or plan of work is like a research design or layout of the research. Describing the structure and major approach is another important one. And the approach includes a theoretical, conceptual, or practical, or empirical study. So plan the study clearly, discuss the approach, and the rationale behind choosing it is also another important thing. Any specific parameter or objective might also be mentioned under this. So it must include the proposed timeline for achieving this and its feasibility. So normally this will be possible. So you always should welcome if you send a communication of your research work to someone give the critical opinion, or if you present in a periodic meeting. Because when I was doing my postdoc studies at ES, so there every fortnight we used to have the periodic meetings. So during that meeting, my work was associated with the chemistry department and as well as pharmacy department. In addition to that, the analytical section professor also used to be part of that. So when we are presenting our work, what in the 2 weeks, what we carried out, where we are stuck up and how we are not able to move, the people used to give some suggestions. You refer this one and you refer this one, and you will find a solution to work on that. So when I was struggling one of the problem, mainly the thing is when I'm carrying out the research, most of the moisture is coming into the development, because the condensation reaction is there, water is coming out. Because I had to remove that water simultaneously while reaction to progress. If I don't remove the water in the reaction, then the reaction is not progressing for the desired product. So that's what normally how that can be carried out. He has given one wide suggestion how to remove such particular water when it is coming in the things. So then the Ding stack apparatus I have to use, and then it has to vaporize to particular temperature. One problem I encountered when it is vaporable temperature it is going, so then the reaction going exothermic. So then totally a product is higher. So then I have to use the reduced pressure to complete that particular work water to be evaporated. So this kind of suggestions we could find and separate the things effectively. So the approach includes theoretical, conceptual, practical, or empirical study. So plan must clearly discuss the approach and the rationale behind choosing it. So any specific parameter or objective might also be mentioned under this. It must include the proposed timeline for achieving this, and its feasibility is also another important one. So that's what normally we look at. And when the methodology is there, research design in terms of materials and methods, and research steps and research procedures and protocols, and collection of results. So this what normally we look at. So this we used to do when I was in MSc. So when we had to synthesize benzyl chloride, it was a very tough and tedious job. So then next step we are supposed to carry out. So the benzyl chloride is another starting material for another kind of product. So then we have used directly the benzyl chloride, we reduced the step, and then we went with the things in a smooth fashion. Otherwise, normal synthesis of benzyl chloride was a tedious step, and it is lacrimating is also there. Then we contain that one. So this one normal research design in terms of materials and methods is another important thing. So the research steps is also how we can reduce and how you can minimize the other energy consumption, water consumption, and all those things. And research procedures and protocols is also you have to see. So here, if you don't see the research protocols, they actually in the US, there is an environmental health and safety agency is there in all universities. So they periodically visit to the research labs and they will see what kind of work. If I'm handling the chemicals, I must and should have material safety data sheet of that particular chemical on my table. So if that particular MSDS sheet is not available, so then they feel, so you are not following the protocol. And if any kind of accident happens, how you are taking care of yourself is also not available. So that's why they do it. And even we are not supposed to discard any into the drain. Okay, we have to collect all organic solvents correct separately. If halogen-based solvents are there, that has to be collected separately. If any aqueous waste is also not, you are not supposed to put in the drain. So drain only, it will go the condensing water only it should go, not other things. So when you are using the condenser for recycling, so that water only should go. Otherwise, and hand washes only should go, but not the reaction extracts or washes should not go to the drain. So they used to come and collect those particular drums once in a fortnight. We had to label it and do it. So that's what normally the protocols enforce there. But in India, still we are not adapted to that particular thing. So in course of time, that may be necessitated. So the collection of results is another important thing. Once the results are there, so how you are going to interpret and analyze is another important thing, the results and discussion. So this what in the methodology we look at. The methodology to be more realistic and highlights the individual passion for the research through understanding of the topic and clarity of thinking. So the what here, this level only, you have all the opportunity to change the variations and observe the whatever the differential changes are happening, so that you can record and report it. This is what normally the main work goes in the methodology, it will be there. The questions to be addressed in the methodology and what methodology and techniques adopted based on literature review is another thing. Because you are able to shorten your things, because number of methods are available, you are choosing a particular method for a different reason. It may be economical, environmentally compatible, or otherwise it is going to give highest percentage of the product, whatever depends on if a chemical reaction is there. So what is the rationale behind choosing those particular techniques or methods you have to justify? So that is what normally, if you don't justify, then we can't go for that. What is the equipment and resources needed to conduct the research? So this is what normally we look at, how the experiments will be conducted and what way data collection will be done and further analyzed and represented, and what way it might be better than other existing methods, and what could be the advantage and or significance. Any limitations are expected, and if so, then how they can be tackled, and it should be also emphasized on the feasibility and expected time frame to get the results. A detailed description of these must be included in this section is an important thing in the methodology. So the conceptualization of the research from to this presentation is one of the important things. So where we are going to make, because in the methodology, what kind of equipment you are using, if the project proposals you are making it. So if you want to procure that particular equipment, so you need to collect its quotations also and market comparative quotations, and you have to place before the funding agency. So this is what the cost, and this is this is my requirement, so you have to support. So normally nowadays it is going to be given the 40%, because recurring expenditures are increasing for the consumables and other things. So the total project cost 40 to 45% only being given for the equipment purpose, and remaining 50 to 55% is being given for the recurring expenditures. So accordingly, you have to make the budget estimates and do the proposals. So this is what normally we look at. And so otherwise, sometimes some people will reduce their recurring expenditure and they want to increase the budget for procuring a good costly equipment is also another thing is there. So this is what normally we look at. And normally the intellectual craftsmanship, the main roadmap, theoretical, the philosophy, normative, positive, and empirical, casual, experimental, correlation, observational, and descriptive. So avoid any rigid set of procedures, fetishism of method or technique. Above all, seek to use sociological imagination. Let every man be his own and methodologist theorist and become part of the practice of a craft. So this one normally we look at. So one important thing is the characteristics of research design. So before going to that, just do you have any questions to ask? Let me do here in between. Then we'll conclude. So subsequently, okay. Are you listening? Is there any problem? Hello? 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 Are you able to listen to me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are listening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just you tell me any
Yes,
questions to be answered here, then we'll proceed, okay? Further. Hello? Are there any questions to be answered? Is the presentation is seen?
Sir, is it
Hello?
over, sir? Presentation is over, sir? Sir, this is director, sir.
No, not over.
Oh, okay.
Are you able to see the PPT?
No, sir. No, sir. PPT is not visible, sir.
Huh?
Not visible, sir.
That's only I'm asking now.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, that I will make it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, do you have any questions? That's why I'm asking in between. That's all. Because I am continuously speaking, you are not able to interrupt me at any point. Okay, I will continue with the characteristics of a research design. So research design normally goes with mainly the 6 important components. So first is research exploration, where outcome is not known in advance, and results can be used to guide higher level of research explorations. That's what normally we look at. And natural integration with the existing course structure also is another one, because you are teaching to the postgraduate students or graduate students. So if you are able to integrate these things, then it will be very reinforcing the concept that are currently being taught, and involves all phases of the research process, emphasis on the scientific method, and engages the students with problems of societal interest, and show the relevance of chemical research to modern problems is one of the things. Of course, it's a biological research also another way you can look at, and different sciences. Now in the sciences you can look at, there's a mathematical sciences, chemical sciences, physical sciences, earth sciences, biological sciences, and so on. Different classifications are there. So involves both group of individual work, create student learning communities. Normally, if any they want to make, or scholars communities, you can make it, scholars club also. The variations allow for multiple interactions and intertransferability, transform the culture of teaching chemistry to masses, or any science subject to the masses. Long-term sustainability and widespread adoption are critical. So this is what normally we look at in the characteristics of research designs. So research design considerations, mainly the practical. So are the cost-based manpower and instrumentation demands reasonable and sustainable? That's what we look at in the proposal. Whether it is research oriented, do the experiments lead to the generation of a new research results or knowledge? So this is what also we look at. And another component is also motivation. Do the students get excited about the research? Do they develop a sense of ownership of the project? So the scholars who are taking part are students who are taking part, so that they are getting motivated and they want to explore further. And if any of the output is there, any further applications are there also they want to do. As far as education is concerned, do the students understand the underlying concepts? Does it reinforce the existing course material, or does it build critical thinking skills? Normally, we look at that line. Yes, please. His voice is interrupted. Hello? Is the voice is
Your voice
interrupted?
is clear, sir. Your voice is clear, sir. Please carry on, sir. Somebody has interrupted that.
Okay then, no problem. So the main principles of research design, because under sustainable development goals, the education has been given the quality parameter, and this particular quality education is also quality research is also part of that. So accordingly, just when we look at the research design principle, there should be a prior knowledge of the things is one of the important things. So knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes are required through learning experiences. So this is what normally, for any topic you are choosing, just a prior knowledge is required. And at the same time, you should have an attitude to do something new or innovative. And you should balance between the breadth and depth. There is prepare the students for the scholars for the study in a particular field, and theoretical and applied learning is also there. Apply the knowledge, concepts, and skills to the real life context, and essential learning and flexible and diversified curriculum is there. So cater for students with different interests, aspirations, and abilities is also another important thing. So inquiry-based learning, adopt a range of learning and teaching strategies, scientific investigations, and problem-based learning to enhance students' understanding of contemporary issues, and greater coherence and strengthen connections with the other subjects for cross-curricular elements. Mainly the progression, if you want to ensure effective progression in chosen studies by exploring the interests. So sometimes when you are pursuing the research, you may be interrupted. You may not getting the expected results. So then the deviation, you have to make it. Because when I was doing my PhD work, so I chosen the sulfur as one of the important moiety in my research work. I want to develop sulfur heterocyclics, because right from student days. I have a special passion for this particular sulfur is component of antibiotic. That's the impression used to be there. So when I started working the sulfur related compounds, heterocyclics, so we don't have a good fume hood in the lab. And once I carried out the experiment, more than 1 week, we are not able to enter into the lab. The smell that sulfur has given during that time, so we are not able to get clear those things. So then I had to abandon that particular sulfur heterocyclic synthesis part, and then I had to proceed for the nitrogen heterocyclics. So then oxazoles also I developed. Then further juniors I made dioxazoles, triaxazoles, triazenes, and triazoles. Different problems we have given once I worked on nitrogen heterocyclics. So this is what normally we do it. The progression when is interrupted in different ways. The progression for the equipped students with wide range of knowledge and skills to enter the workplace requirements and catering for diversity, achieve the learning targets of their own pace according to their aspirations, abilities, interests, and needs. So this is what normally we look at. And further, if you look at the relevance of the student's life, motivation and interest are key as student characteristics in active and effective learning of research. So not only students, even the teacher also the same path is supposed to be there. So once you think and plan, then you want to discover. So then gather and analyze and write and publish and share the impact. So this is what the research we look at, scaling up whatever are there. So perfecting the engineering aspects also another thing. So who, what, where, when, why. So these are the questions should arrive in a particular product development. So mixed method research in social sciences is there. Just I think here you don't have much social science background students also there, no? Any social science background are there in the group? Hello? No one is there.
No, sir. Mostly,
okay.
Most of them are from sciences.
Sciences only. Okay. Then I will skip that particular part, the social science part. Then we'll go for. So the results and discussions, mainly reporting of results, indicating the evidence. Mainly, the honest presentation of results is findings is necessary. Don't manipulate to fit to your outcomes what you anticipate. So that's what even the negative results also do accept by the certain things, because there are 100 opportunities you are eliminating and only one possibility you are working out at the end. But that also one of the elimination also you are able to report it. That's what normally you look at. Evaluating the results and preliminary findings, whether these were expected or not, give the facts, including any inconsistencies or difficulties are encountered. So this was normally when results are being evaluated in a group, research groups are going to play in normally in the US and abroad, that teamwork is another important way, normally even in UK also. So even a particular problem, a PhD is shared by those group of the students totally. So they evolve and everything. So that's once someone is working on one step and another one is working on a different step, so they encounter problems. So then when they discuss the solutions, do finds and alternative approaches also you can make it. Describe the inference, comparative relationship and explanation of the results, and provide the statement of limitations in terms of strengths, weaknesses, alternatives emerges based on objective of the study. So that's what normally we look at. Knowledge, analyze data, fact is another important thing, and how it will you are practicing, testing and developing to support also another way. So idea generation is one of the things, then how you can screen, and then how you proceed for research, and then you design, then you test and launch. So these are the things normally do happen in the research aspects. So the two types of reasoning is there. There is deductive and there is another one is inductive. So deductive, it will be theory, then hypothesis, observation, confirmation is there. But whereas from inductive, it will be reverse. Observations, the pattern, hypothesis, then finally a theory will be there. So where do quantitative methods and statistical inference fit it? Mainly inductive, using a particular example to reach a general conclusion about something. But deductive, using a logic or reason to form a conclusion or opinion about something. So this one normally inductive and deductive definitions are there. So this will be normally we look at for the quantitative methods for most of the social science research, and very limited for the sciences it will be there. and when you are doing. So this is conclusion. So what the overall study is going to contribute, how the research methods adopted is helpful for future needs, why the above study is so important based on outcome of the results, and strive to reach the clear, simply stated and unbiased conclusions is also another thing. And conclusion statement should summarize the entire research effort and stresses the importance of the work accomplished. So normally this is supposed to be there. Nowadays that's not happening. Most of the conclusion part, people are simply writing the one page and concluding only with the. So there is a possibility for the expansion of the research that they conclude. So it should summarize what effort you have made it and how it has been done. Also, it should be there. So this is what normally the conclusion should make. And once you look at the references, how you make it. And of course, I'm not going to much on these things, publication of papers and journals, how you incorporate these things. The sources of internet. Normally, the overall research skill is one thing is that perfection should become a hobby, and reliability be a synonym, and editing should be a passion, and excellence to be a goal. So these are the things normally we have to focus on. So with this, just I conclude for this, and because I was asked for at least 15 minutes for the interaction, and after that, if anything is there, I will make the things to be possible. So do you have any questions to make? Hello? Yes, the participants? Do you have any questions to make? Hello? Do you have any questions to make?
Sir, how to browse these research articles, sir?
Actually, this is what normally you are thinking, no? Because now the Web of Science example I have shown you in the one of the slide. So that is the way just you can browse, and you can even publish an article or review article from that. Okay. So this is one approach you can see. And also simply Google search is one of the best is there. In addition to that, there are a number of other sources are there. Google search is giving a lot of information. So if you look at the Web of Science, this is thing. So through EndNote, you can go that. Then there is a data as bibliography file will be there. From this you can make, and finally an article you can publish also from the text, whatever the content are there. So this one, the review of literature will be sent. So it should be literature on the enter the topic and a method. And source of literature says primary, secondary, tertiary. These three components are there. So this what normally we look at. And then how you can organize chronological organization, categorical viewpoints, and contributions related to. So this what, and in addition to that, there are a number of databases are available now, Thomson Reuters and other things. So from that also you can make it. And so you can find the things. The primary sources, I feel the Google search is the things. But when we were the scholars, we had to go and manually search the chemical abstracts. From that, we had to find out. Then the research, if the interested article is there, then we have to see which journal it is published, and we have to go the back volumes of that particular journal, and that particular article we had totally copied down, and we used to do. So manually, we used to spend 3 months for a particular topic research. But now the computer and information technology has facilitated a lot. So you can do in 3 days your total research or search you can complete it. Okay. From that you can do it. Okay. Any other question to me? Hello?
Good afternoon, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
No, yeah, if you today, based on your questions, I want to design the next class topic so that it will be, I can answer in a better way. Okay. That's what. So what you intended to have it, I don't know much. Then you can make it. Yeah, please.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, in some of the papers, the result section is separate from the discussion. In some of the papers, the both
Yes.
are included in one. Which one is better, sir? Actually,
Yeah.
which one is
Actually,
better?
it is
Actually,
included in results and discussion is supposed to be goes together. It is better because simultaneously you are able to discuss. No, you are putting the result and you are able to discuss. Okay. Otherwise, when you are discussing, the result part is somewhere else. It will be totally different. Of course, now every journal has their own way of presentations. So to condense the matter, they are trying to do different way. Some of them want to elaborate the number of pages. They are doing a different way. That's only. Okay. I feel that they should be together only. Even the thesis also should be there together only.
Sir,
Okay.
if I may just add to what
That's
Professor,
normal standard protocols. If you look at any kind.
Sir, Professor Ravindra, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, please. You
yeah.
can add.
I'm Dr. Srinivaslu. I'm just trying to add to the clarity that you have given already with regards to the question raised by Mr. Charan. This you have to be very careful. All of you who are writing these things, you have to go through the instruction to the authors, because as sir has rightly pointed out, you might be having some journals that might require, that might have both of them together, results and discussion together, and some journals say that results should be separate and discussion should be separate. So I would suggest that you people go through the instructions to the authors given by each and every journal and decide basing on that. So basically, in most of the journal, we have seen that results are the very distinctive part wherein you are putting only the findings, and then the discussion is elaborate one wherein you are discussing the whole findings, etc. So yeah, please. And I saw that there was one question that Dr. Rajkumar was asking. Dr. Rajkumar, if you're still there, you can ask the question.
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Please.
afternoon, sir. You stressed a point that we have to look for the patented work. So, is there any specific site for exploring the patented work, sir?
Actually, the specific sites are normally is available. Any of the Indian Patent Office is there, so that you can see US Patent Office is there. That if you go that particular offices, then you can look at those particular patented work. Okay.
Okay.
So patented work only small abstract will be there. From that you have to generate the ideas, because now the specialized professionals are there to provide you. Because I have seen the Ranbaxy laboratories, the librarian is the best source for providing that information. A scientist never go for the searching the information. He asks this particular topic, what literature is available on the web and other sources, you provide me. So next, within 24 hours, the librarian is bring all the content related material and put it on his table. So the scientists normally in such a corporate organizations are working in a different way. So okay, for us as scholars and teachers, we have to work on sources which are available. Go to the now information is available, just you do that. So we are not able to effectively utilize the information scientists for getting those things, and now it is available. Of course, next class I will bring that actual sites to you, no problem. So at the moment I didn't go for that. So that's what one advantage. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, good afternoon, sir. What is
Yes.
the time required for publishing a paper, sir, to organize, to plan a research work on a particular subject? How much time we have to spend for working in a degree college? Generally, teaching is a primary importance, and how much time we have to spare every day, like that, please.
Sir, every day 2 hours if you spend, that's enough.
Okay.
A teacher, 2 hours per literature search, if he spends, it's okay. Subsequently, when he executing the experiments requires normally 4 to 8 hours are there. So that once you set up, the things will go. If you take the assistance of your students or scholars to be involved, so then they provide the input. Once you design the experiments, you take their assistance, because most of our work we are being carried out for our research scholars with the support of our postgraduate students. The postgraduate students are benefited and research scholars simultaneously are benefiting. So this one normally will be there. So that you can plan accordingly how conveniently you can operate both the jobs. Sometimes some people are endowed with administration also. So they have to engage, distribute their particular work, how much time they can spend. Okay, it depends upon the individual available time, how you can work it out. Because you can exclusively at 2 days you can do it. Remaining 4 days you can engage only the teaching activity. 2 days you exclusively keep it for your research activity. That way also you can plan it. Okay.
And another thing is that, sir, mostly our degree college lecturers are possible to. It is possible only to work upon general issues like environmental and other hard water testing like that. Why? Because apparatus instruments are not there, and while publishing also, highly reputed journals will not accept. Almost we had to go for paid journals only. Okay, what is the remedy for this one, sir?
Don't do that. In such circumstances, you better to collaborate. Okay. Collaborate with the nearest research institutions or whatever the possible way. So in that way, you can publish in a good journal. So now one of the important part of the new research areas, it is only the collaborations. Because when we have submitted for the UP application, so they are asking for that particular part. So how many papers you have published in high impact factor journals? 1, and how many of the papers you are having the more number of citations, how many papers you are having with the collaborations. So these 3 categories they looked at. Okay, the best they asked only for each department 5 each. So not the best cited papers in the department the last 5 years, 5 each, and best impact factor papers, impact factor journals which they published 5 each in the last 5 years, and only best 5 collaborative papers. So that only they asked it. Okay, the 15 papers for the department. So they all participating 12 departments are shown that things to the visiting committee, expert committee. Okay, so here is also the same thing. Collaboration is one of the things which, and when things are not available with you, better to collaborate. So there are a number of institutions are there. When you are finding the literature, so you can correspondence with them. I have this problem. So they give some time, so you can go for your summer holidays or weekends and spend with them and complete it. So nowadays, if anyone is coming with the interest, no one is denying the opportunity to work with them. Okay. Okay. Especially in the National Research Institutes. Okay. That you need not require to worry. And actually, we, Usman University, want to make the centralized facility research and development. So only for that particular reason. So where the people can come and work in that particular facility, so effectively they can utilize the facilities so that who are not accessible to anything, that they can benefit from that. That's what we thought of it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
Sir, I'm just going through the chat, and there was one question that was regarding by Sheshaya, and he has asked whether what are the funding agencies in India. So it's a very generalized question, but you can very quickly tell about, I don't know from, I think all of us are coming from the sciences background. So with respect to sciences, what are the different funding agencies?
Sir, under new education policy, all funding agencies are going to be integrated into NRF, National Research Foundation. At the moment, our Department of Biotechnology is there, EGC is there, Department of Science and Technology is there. In addition to this, the ministry is also supporting. Ministry of Environmental Science for science people, and Information Technology, Electronics and Information Technology is there. Then non-conventional energy resource, new and renewable energy resource ministry, and food processing industries also are there. So the ministries, even Earth Sciences, Department of Earth Sciences, Department of Pharmaceuticals, all these things are going to be part of funding purpose only, if you look at that. So that is one of the important things, just you can look at into that. But ministry funding is very good, quantitative, and they also nowadays, and in the name of hackathon, so they putting the problems of that particular related area on their website. So for that, you are the part of that, then it will be good. Okay. Actually, this is the one which I thought of having the central facility CFRD, what we are having. So where we want to university industry incubation and innovation center, which we wanted to develop the research facility structure mainly, the research services and research dissemination, research training, research facilitation, and research business. This 5 component one is supposed to go. There are 2 interdisciplinary schools we proposed. One we got with the DBT support, Interdisciplinary School for Life Sciences and Research. And then under UP support also, we wanted to have the Material Science and Research, Interdisciplinary School for Material Science and Research. So once that, whatever the equipment we procured and what kind of research we carried out, we should maybe available for the people for under research training for those things. We felt it. And then there is another one is Central Sophisticated Instrumentation Facility, mainly the Central Instrumentation Facility, which we wanted to under research services. And another one is Central Digital Library Resources, CDLR. So from this you can find, if one good information officer is available, so you put your question requirement, they will provide at cost. All these are services are at cost we wanted to, and it should be self-sustainable model we thought of it. Another is Center for Quantitative Methods and Statistic Analysis. And another one is Center for Professional Advancement and Continuing Education. So these 2 are under research dissemination, we thought of it. So the research facilitation, research center for university industry interface, which we thought of having it, and Center for Entrepreneur Development and Management and Development. So this is what we thought of having under research facilitation. And research business also we thought of it, that is Center for Sponsor Research and Consultancy, and we are RDCC we are having at the moment in the same facility, and Center for Patent Facilitation Services. So this particular center is going to help what patents are available and how it is going to do. So this we thought of it. Once these facilities are there, any research scholar can enter into this particular facility and go out with the whatever. If someone is coming with an idea, go out with the product. So that's what we felt it. So you can get trained, you can get advantage of gaining the knowledge, and resources also available. So that structure we thought of having at CFRD, the Usman University. So as a Dean Development, we proposed these things. And interdisciplinary schools, we thought of having these 3, the biotechnology, information technology, and nanotechnology, under material science nanotechnology program, under life sciences biotechnology. And we also having University Computer Center in that information technology also. We wanted to be part of that. These 3 schools we wanted to develop under that. So that has not, this mainly a PG, PhD program type of programs we thought of introducing. Where once UGC has thought to give all the first rankers of the specific disciplines to be given the direct fellowship awarding without going for CSR or NET examination. So that was there. So that is an integrated PhD, PG, PhD programs are there. So that we thought of it. So that has not shaped. And now under NRF, we hope to be so. We can strengthen and we'll go it. And Srinivasali is also now part of the incubation center, University Incubation Center.
Yeah, yes, sir. I just wanted to just bring it to the context that, the university has set up the technology business incubator and trying to bring in all these aspects that Professor has told us to under one umbrella. And we are fortunately located in the same building that Professor is talking about, like, the central facilities for research and development. The whole idea is all of you who are listening to us, as well as your students, your research scholars, whoever is from Osmania University alumni, you can apply directly. If you have good ideas, you can, apply to us, and then we would be able to incubate you in the incubator and try to, see that your ideas, if at all, they can be scaled up to product and made into a business model, business thing. We will be able to do it. That is what the whole idea of, having the platform of entrepreneurship development, as well as, helping you with patents and all those things. Under the UBE program, we have put up a cell for the patenting activities and all those things. And Professor GB Reddy is taking care of that. You can write to us. See, university has lots of facilities. You can write to us. and get the collaborative research work being done and all those things. Approach us. That is what Dr. Ravinder as well as we feel that all of you have good ideas. You have good scope of developing any product and all those things. Please get in touch with your universities in which you are affiliated to or related to, or your alma mater. Go there and speak to them, write to them. You don't have to come to us physically. Write to us. You can just note down, maybe later in the chat I will share the website of Osmania TBI. You can write, look at what services we are providing and all such kind of things. So yes, sir, you have rightly pointed out there were lots of things that we, at the university under your leadership, we were planning to do, but because of various reasons, those things did not materialize. But learning from those things, we have also seen under the MHRD RUSA funding, we have brought in special centers of excellence, and then we have brought in, digital technology, education center, etc., where we are trying to, go in pace with what is required contemporarily, as well as help our own stakeholders, be it our own faculty members within the university, in the government degree colleges, affiliated colleges, wherever they are, and then our alumni, so that we can make them the citizens that the India requires. So that is the whole idea. And I'm thankful to sir to have given a kind of holistic information about how to go about the research methodology as such. And then, as sir was mentioning, sir is going to join us once again in the coming days, and he is going to make his presentation in and around the questions that you have asked. And he will also share some of his experience with respect to the research scenario in India. There was a couple of pertinent questions, sir, from the participants as well as from my side also. The NRF as such, which is being thought about, it would be a central body. Yeah, it would be a central body, but I think the National Education Policy also speaks about all the department level or ministry level funding would also be kind of continuing at their level. For example, if DST is doing some kind of funding for scientific research and all those things, or DBT is doing, or DRDO defense ministry is doing, so those will continue. Then you would be also having a bigger foundation that would be taking into consideration all those things, and see that research is not repetitive. For example, many a times, because the funding agency do not know what kind of research is happening in silos, NRF would be taking into consideration that thing and see that the funding is not going to the same kind of research being done in number of places. So I think that is the scenario. Sir, there was one question by Rakesh Srirama. Okay. He is asking that, is the FDP program by UGC still on or not, for faculty taking 1 or 2 years of leave to do research?
Actually, this is one problem for the past 3 years we are facing. The UGC also not able to come out with the earlier schemes and other things to continue. Because if funding is available, because most of the under 11th plan, 12th plan, most of the utilizations has been settled by the respective universities and the wherever the things it has been utilized. And the Niti Aayog, which has been introduced subsequently, it is only annual based grants are going on. So that's the reason after 2017, there was no such program again invented. Probably now it may come up with the new education policy. So once it is started implementing, because today in the morning also the President and Prime Minister mentioning the main challenge is preparing the faculty to the new needs. So that is the main challenge they are mentioning about, because when they are speaking about the research is one of the criteria in the institutions, important criteria in the institution, higher education institutions. So they have to give that particular opportunity for the teachers to complete. And that is the reason now they are making that a teacher to be appointed after 2022 with a PhD degree. Not those who are not having PhD degree, they are not encouraged to get joined in the university services mainly. So still that is a tough job for as for implementation, because universities are not able to produce that many number for so many number of colleges in the country. Now they are wanted to make the all the standalone institutions to bring into multidisciplinary colleges, a cluster of colleges, higher education clusters they call it. Engineering college, college of education, pharmacy college, all those things are going to part of this, even general education. So if in a particular domain these 3-4 colleges are there, so then they are going to be cluster of colleges will be there. They will be given a separate autonomy, and they have to go like that. Because you know very well, other day just tomorrow my lecture is there for the 2F12B for the same orientation program. So just I was going through the notes. So accordingly, if no single institution, there are more than 80% of the institutions in the country do not fulfill the 2F12B situation. Because we are having 1,988 colleges in Telangana state, only 300 or 400 colleges are having 2F12B status. Only 400 colleges. So that means less than 20%, I think, are almost is there. So the remaining 80% colleges are non-viable. That means, as per affiliation norms, every college should have 2 acres of land. Then if this cluster of colleges, if they join part of the things for their identity, then only they can offer this particular liberal arts program. Otherwise, this whatever apartment-based colleges are there, so no more recognition will be there for those things, because they cannot offer the 4-year degree, because they don't have. If you see All India Survey and Higher Education report, 80% of the colleges are showing the playgrounds are having. And if you are well aware of it, so many colleges in the city are all in the apartment complex where they are having the playgrounds also. I too shocked to know. Okay, so this is a situation it's going to be there. So once that multidisciplinary institutions are coming, cluster institution comes, so the research will progress, and funding will flow will be also very high. That advantage we have to welcome and witness it course of time, and it may take 1 or 2 years, but at the same time the states also to act very fast to in tune with the new education policy. Otherwise, so we'll be behind for that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for clarifying the doubts of participants as well as some of the doubts that I have raised. Yeah, on if HRDC director sir is around, because HRDC is conducting a couple of courses simultaneously. HRDC sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, just
yes, sir, yes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah. So could you just close the session, sir, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, dear friends, I thank our Professor Sir Ravindranath sir for his excellent lecture, because he has been. We always look at him whenever we need assistance and whenever we need help. So he never says no. So, sir, I'm really, because tomorrow also we have at other program that is a faculty development improvement program of sirs. So, sir, I really thank you, sir, for always being there for HRDC and guiding us and making us to move forward in right direction. So, friends, I thank our resource person, Professor Ravindranath sir, for giving an excellent lecture on research design and research processes in sciences. Sir, thank you so much, sir. On behalf of HRDC, myself and participants, I thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks to all participants for patient listening, and we will see you on 10th again. Okay. If
Thanks
any
a lot,
questions are there, just you can put with the coordinator Srinivas sir, and from him also I will redesign my things, and then I will put you in the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srinivas. Bye.
Nice. Okay. Now I think it's the closure of session 2 now, and we'll start the session 3 at 2 p.m. So you can rejoin at 2 p.m. And this particular session would be taken by Dr. Nimisha Vedanta. She is the senior principal scientist from NGRI, and she'll be talking about research design in earth sciences thing, right? So please join us at 2 o'clock.